The Ivy League extraordinary gentlemen, the League of Ivy extraordinary gentlemen. You're listening to what we say. We said we had to say. The Ivy League extraordinary gentlemen, the League of Ivy extraordinary gentlemen. You're listening to what we say. We said we had to say.
And I ran in here to make sure I could make our podcast. Tried on the phone, heard your dumbasses being like, "Oh no, you can hear us, you can hear us." And yes, I could hear
You didn't make it. You're 28 minutes late.
I have a bum
Because
ache.
he was playing pickleball at a work event. Like, what this guy does for work, I don't know. Because, hey, want to golf 2 p.m. on a weekday every day.
Don't do
Guys
that.
playing
Don't
pickleball.
do that.
They flew you out to NOLA to play pickleball.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
they need my body to play pickleball.
Well, good for the company.
They're not just going to have a pickleball tournament and not fly everyone on their team somewhere central to do it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Sir.
Some Saudi Arabian VC gave them millions of dollars to do this types of stuff.
No. Don't put that on there, Waze. That's not real.
Oil money, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Wow, what to talk about. Holy moly, are you kidding me? What is going on in this league? This league, man.
Yeah.
Controversy in that
Well, should we start and work our way back, or
are you wearing a crop top, Skyler? Why is it always dark when you do this? Turn the light on.
I literally ran to my room with the phone, and the phone wasn't working because I was going to actually take this podcast in the shower because I have to get ready for a very important, very fancy dinner. But instead, I'm in the dark. I haven't even turned on the light yet. I haven't washed my hands. My hands are still pickle juice on them. I guess I got pickleball juice on them.
Pickle juice.
So you're complaining to me about it being dark, but I'm here grinding in the darkness. I am the darkness, Kyle. I am the darkness this week. I live in the dark.
Yeah, you've lost. I noticed that you've lost 3 straight. That's even worse than I am right now.
Two, bitch.
No, he's 2. He's L2.
Okay, well, he's about to be L3.
Well, yeah, you're gonna beat me. I'm losing by design.
Why would you lose by design?
I don't want to get into it with you, schwer.
All right, I gotta go camera off because I'm gonna go in the shower and do this.
Oh my god, the guy gets on a podcast to then get in the shower.
I think this might be the first ever podcaster that's been a shower podcaster. It could be.
There's no way we're not meeting you.
Just so you know, I'm seeing an L3 next to Marengo.
Well, the Marengo needs to figure it out, okay? I told that in the last
That's an L3. You've lost 3 straight.
I know I have. I never said I didn't. I said you have lost 3 straight, and that was incorrect. That was an incorrect data point.
Oh, no, I've only lost 2 straight.
Yeah, I said you're going to lose 3, bitch.
Damp King, old Jeffy Jeff, 4 straight.
Oh, God. L4. I didn't realize that.
He's in a dark place.
Yeah, Jeff's in a bad place.
Losing for a month is tough.
All right. Wow. Can we get into this? Can we do soccer talk first? I saw it was last on the agenda, but can we do soccer talk first, please, Schwer?
Well, if we do soccer talk first, then you're just going to leave.
Well, no. I'm going to stay. I'm just going to jump in the shower for a little.
Okay.
When do you have to leave, Skyler? When do you have to leave?
Like 25 minutes. It's pretty good.
Oh, my God. Well, I already listened to Schwer ramble for 25 minutes, and then the thing broke, so we lost all that. He's got at least 25 minutes of rambling.
Okay, well, let's go to soccer talk.
All right, I'll do soccer talk first, and I'll start it off by saying, I'm one of the greatest fans that has ever lived, and I've been to the championship was my 3rd game of the season and was undefeated in the games I went to. So shout out me. And the championship game, well, the semifinal game was pretty cool. It went to double overtime. My boy hockey guy scored with 3 minutes left in the second overtime. My friend Colin came for the second half, stayed for the first overtime, left in the second overtime. Absolutely mind-boggling move to travel. He lives 45 minutes away. And then at 9:30 on a Thursday night decide he then has to leave with 3 minutes left of double overtime. Crazy move. Shout out Colin for being a bad fan. I stuck around. It was cold. Stuck around. Saw the game-winning goal, double overtime. So then they go to championship game. It's at Virtue Field, UVM's field, under the lights, which is new for high school soccer. I thought this was really cool. I hope they keep doing this. Usually it's at Burlington High School in the day, like at a Saturday at 2:00. It was a Sunday night, which is kind of bizarre. Probably would have preferred it to be Saturday night, but Sunday night at 7. CVU goes down one early. Down one.
Not
Yep.
early,
CVU goes down.
Yeah, we went down.
No, it was second half. Yeah, it was second half, right?
Yeah, we went down.
Yeah, you guys went down, and then you guys decide. I think at the halftime speech was from the coaching staff was, "Hey guys, let's just start running their goalie. Let's start rattling their cage a little bit." So then, shortly thereafter, you guys gave the direction. The troops were called. You guys bum rushed the goalie, gave him a concussion. He gets pulled. They put in second string guy. You say, "Okay, this guy stinks. Shoot from anywhere and everywhere." You guys score on the second string goalie within minutes. The poor kid had probably never played. Score in minutes on him, and then you guys get another goal shortly thereafter. You guys take the lead. 2 unanswered goals. Bang, bang. Place is going nuts. Student section.
One correction. The first string goalie is still on when we scored both of our goals, and then we injured him after our first 2 goals.
That's not right. I'll show you the tape.
I have the tape.
Second goal was scored on by the kid on a low shot.
It was a nice shot.
It was a nice shot. I don't think the starting goalie would have had it, but it was 100% the first ball that kid saw went in the net.
He wasn't bad either for a little guy.
Dude, he then picked up the ball and did a goalie drop kick, and that's when you knew this kid stunk. I hope he doesn't listen to the podcast because I feel bad, but he did a drop kick, and it went like 10 yards. And then I think their team, I honestly think it helped South Burlington because like when you realize like you just can't concede any shots, you start playing like hard defensively. And I think they were like, listen guys, we can't let them even shoot the ball from anywhere. So we got to lock it in. And they started playing like pretty hard soccer at that point. And then time's ticking away. You guys are up 2-1. Chances kind of on both ends. And for whatever reason, kind of a weird breakdown, but they ended up springing a guy on the right side who got the ball like, I don't know. It seemed like it was pretty far out, maybe just inside the 18, and this dude just fucking ripped it as hard as he could. He banged it, and nothing your goalie could have done.
No.
But so then it's tie game, 3 minutes left, and at that point I was like, yeah, we're going to penalty kicks. Like,
dude, at that
there's
point,
no way.
From coach, at that point, I was like, let's get to OT because our team, their heads were down. Dudes were like crying. I was like, we need to get out of it. Like, we need to get to the next stage because we are in a bad place.
Yeah, and South Burlington came out in the first overtime. They came out hard, and I was like, "Oh no, like this is not good." South Burlington has all the momentum. Meanwhile, though, you guys did hurt their second string goalie, and so now they had put in a third string goalie. Who, I don't know if you saw this or not, but the third string goalie actually made a pretty nice save, and then he was like he could boot the ball. So I was like, "Oh, you guys might have screwed up. This guy's better than the second string." And then he booted the ball, and I swear to God, a phone fell out of his pocket. The guy was wearing like pants, like normal pants. And I swear to God, a phone fell out of his pants. And I think he realized, oh shit, I've brought my phone on the field. How do I cover this up? Because then he didn't get it, and then he was getting subbed out. And then we were like, dude, that was not a shin guard. That was a phone. And he picked up the phone and then walked off the field, and they put back in the second string guy who like cleared protocol, which was crazy because I was like, this third string guy was the only guy that didn't concede a goal, and you're gonna put back in the second string guy for penalty kicks. Like, keep the guy in that hasn't seen a ball go in the back of his net. But they took him out. They put in the second string guy. Big mistake. Chances in overtime, both sides. Goes to penalty kicks. Now the second string goalie's in, and South Burlington shooting first, which honestly, was really bizarre. The guy puts the ball down to kick it.
Oh, this is weird.
They like set up.
Weird.
Yeah, they pick the end they're kicking from. The guy goes, he puts down his ball. The refs look at each other. They're like about to kick, and then the refs like get together, and they're like talking over what they should do. And I was like, this is crazy. They're icing this kid. He's standing over the ball.
So do you know what happened? They had to come over, our staff and the South Burlington, and they needed the list of players in order who were taking the penalty kicks, which I don't know why they needed that. It was like they needed the name, the number, like their area code, their social security number. We're like, dude, but we were fine with it. I kept saying to our team, I was like, take as long as you want. Take as long as you want.
Yeah, that's crazy that they don't get that before the game starts in case it happens.
Insane. And there's 4 fucking refs and no one asked.
Yeah, that's crazy because that, like, I was like, there's no way this kid makes this now.
But they banged it.
And
They absolutely banged it.
well, was that the one that like almost went over?
No, that was a good one.
I don't know.
That was a good one.
That was you guys that almost put it over, I thought. But so yeah, they make it. South Burlington makes it. Then it's I think your guys' first kick, right? Your first one went in, yeah.
Luke, that was
your first PK.
Yeah, he was a good one.
And then South Burlington made their second, and then you guys were taking your second, and the kid kind of duffs it, like, and the second string goalie for South Burlington gets his hands on it, makes the save, and then just rolls around and lets go of the ball, and the ball goes in his own net after saving it. He like knocked it in himself. Sky, you told me after the game that the CVU kid was like crying because he thought he missed because he turned around after he saw it get saved.
So for reference, everyone in the stadium thought the goalie saved it.
Excuse me, I was in the stadium. I was like, that kid just put it in. Holy shit.
So Henry is running, basically walking back to the team, hands over his eyes. You can visibly see tears. And I'm yelling at him like, dude, it's in the net. And I'm telling our guys, like, I don't know if you saw me on the sideline short. I'm like hyping our guys up. I'm like, the goal, it is in the fucking net. Like, it is a goal. It is a goal. And I'm just like, I'm going to will this to happen. It is a goal. And I'm throwing my hands in there trying to get the crowd, because the crowd was like deathly silent at this point. Like literally like a pin drop. Because no one knew what was going on.
Everyone was waiting for the refs. Everyone was waiting for the refs to decide because it was like, whoa, this is crazy. And the one ref had a great view.
I will give Schwer credit in the Snapchats. He's filming the shot, right? It kicks. The goalie saves it. He's still filming. And then you see it roll in the net.
Yeah.
And then Schwer was like, that's a goal. And then it's like this weird like pause of, you can tell it's like silent in the stadium. And then you see the refs. One of the refs, like the line judge, walks up to the net.
It's crazy.
And he was like pointing at the ball.
Dude,
and
insane.
They were like, you could tell they were talking about it, him and like the field ref. And then Schwer ended the snap. So that's all I saw.
Well, yeah, you could also see your goalie was putting in a good word. He was like, that went in.
He was working.
Yeah.
And then the next
I think it did go in.
In theory, he had a better view than the fucking line ref at that point. He was standing close next to him.
All right, keep going.
Yeah, standing right next to you.
So anyway, you feel bad. This is the second string goalie that's just had a hell of a day. That kid's going to have nightmares for the rest of his life, probably, unfortunately. But so now South Burlington guy goes, he makes it, lefty, beautiful goal.
Beautiful
and
goal.
CVU goes, they bury it.
Yep.
So then it's three in for both sides.
Yep.
Fourth shot for South Burlington. Guy rings it off the crossbar.
And for reference, this was the same guy that banged in the goal at the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. He ripped it. It was like a laser off the crossbar. And then the CVU guy goes, I think it was the time before, but the CVU guy rips one, and it was like he roofed it, and I think he got a little higher than he wanted to because I thought his was going over, but he tucked it in.
Oh, that was scary.
And then, and then it was Nick Menard that went up, and I was thinking it was to win it on the Snapchat, but because he made it, which honestly his was a little hairy. Like the goalie got a piece of it, and it kind of trickled in. And then I was like, oh, CVU won. Why aren't we celebrating? And I was like, oh, wait, there's 5 kickers. So then South Burlington went, they made it, and then it came down to the captain, and he buried it. And
hold on, before you say the last stuff, I'm going to give you an insider of this. So Charlie Jennings, our captain, best kid in the world, class act all through. We have practiced the day before practicing penalty kicks, literally practicing penalty kicks. This guy misses 4 penalty kicks in a row, and Rob and I go up to him.
Missing what, over the net or getting saved?
Saved, hit the crossbar, hit the post, and we're just like, you can't take one tomorrow. So we go up to him and we're like, dude, you can't take. And he's like, no, I got this. I want to be number 5. I got this. And we're like, all right. And then he goes and fucking buries it. How sick is that?
And he wanted to be number 5 too. That's wild.
Which is insane. And he did. He buried it. And classmate by him too.
That kid's either going to be really successful or a complete psychopath.
But no, you'll love this, Dirks. This kid is.
There's no in between.
He buries the penalty kicks, runs over with the team too. We'll talk about the fans. Runs over to the most packed stadium for a high school game ever. Runs up, jumps into the stands, runs all the way to the top of the stands, gives his mom a hug.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Never seen that before. He literally just won the state championship on his kick, and his whole team's celebrating. All the fans are celebrating, and he just doesn't give a shit, and he just goes up and hugs his mom. It was crazy.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
It was.
Yeah. He's watched a few too many of those. He knows how to get laid. Just saying.
I don't think
so. That was soccer.
So that was soccer talk. I'm good. I'm good. Moving that soccer talk. State champs. Love my boys. Love my team. That's all I say.
Well, you have 7 minutes before you have to go.
I'm gonna jump into the shower, so I'm gonna put myself on mute.
You haven't showered yet? Jesus Christ!
I've been watching and listening, boy.
All right, so he's muted. He's taking a shower now. So I think I gotta air some dirty laundry. I think we get into this trade now, Kyle.
All right. Well, keep it. You already had a dry run. You gotta be more concise.
No, I'm skipping my trade debacle and I'm jumping right into this Gideon Cobb trade. This is what the people want to hear. So I wake up. I go to bed early last night. I wake up this morning and I look at my phone and I have 322 text messages, and that only means one thing to me. That's fantasy football. So I'm like, oh my God, something happened. So before I even check the text, I go immediately into the app. I go into recent activity. I'm scrolling through because I'm like, oh, waiver wires today. Maybe something weird happened. And then I'm scrolling through and I see that a trade has been accepted between Gideon and Cobb. And just for people's reference, it's a 2-quarterback league. Gideon had no quarterbacks, no starting quarterbacks for this week's upcoming matchups. He had Daniel Jones hurt. He had Tyrod Taylor hurt. He had Jalen Hurts on bye week. And he had no one. Danny DeVito, or not Danny DeVito. What's his actual name? Tommy DeVito? Teddy DeVito?
Tommy, or I don't know.
Whatever. The DeVito guy he picked up because he was first claimed. So he had one salvageable point option, even though that guy doesn't even throw the ball. But he's playing him, and so he still needed one quarterback. And I was working a pretty what I would consider a pretty fair trade with him. He actually
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Yeah, he picked up Tommy DeVito. So anyway, he still needed a quarterback. I was talking to him the day before. We were working out a trade. It was looking pretty good. He was like, yeah, we should do this trade. I was like, this would be fun if you sent the trade and I accepted it live on air on this podcast so I could get other people to weigh in live on air. This would be fun. This would be cool. He was all for it. And then meanwhile, I see this trade in the morning, and not only was I frustrated because I was like, oh, we had a trade in the works, but also the magnitude of this trade just quaked the whole league here. And
it quaked Charlie.
Yeah, but I mean, this is an insane trade. Gideon was able.
Charlie was speaking
Yeah,
for
so
all.
Charlie was the most mad because he's playing Gideon, and so he was hoping for an easy matchup with Gideon not having a quarterback. So he had more skin in the trade than others, but
Yeah.
I think other people can still say that this trade was insane. So Cobb gives Gideon DJ Moore and Bryce Young, who the kicker is Bryce Young. He's not obviously that great, but he's a starting quarterback, and he's a rookie starting quarterback, which means Gideon has a keeper-eligible starting quarterback for next year. Whether Bryce is the guy or not, you'd like to think he's going to remain a starter for at least next year. So huge value for keeper eligibility for Gideon. So Gideon solves his problem with the QB, has a nice keeper, and he trades Cobb, Amari Cooper. So right there, you're thinking, oh, okay, that's an okay trade. He gives up a top 25, maybe. What is Amari Cooper right now? Amari Cooper, yeah, 21, ranked 21. So he gives a top 25 wide receiver for Bryce Young,
Also, I don't know if Cobb saw this, but the touchdown that Amari Cooper caught last week was a fucking doink off someone's helmet. Like,
I did
it
hear
was
that.
the luckiest touchdown catch I've ever seen. Like, Deshaun Watson doinked it off a lineman's helmet. The secondary stepped up to intercept it, and it like doinked higher than they both thought, and then literally just fell into Amari Cooper's hands. So, just added data point that
Yeah.
Amari Cooper was, I mean, whatever touchdowns he has, that's one of them.
I think he's ranked 21. I think, realistically, I think he's probably teetering on top 25 or outside. And so you're thinking, okay trade, but the kicker is, and I'm sure Gideon would have done the trade for Amari Cooper for Bryce Young straight up, but somehow Cobb thought he needed to add DJ Moore. So Gideon gets DJ Moore and Bryce Young for Amari Cooper. DJ Moore is the 6th ranked wide receiver in fantasy football. And he gave him the 6th ranked fantasy football wide receiver and Bryce Young for 21st ranked Amari Cooper. Like, that is the most insane. So the only thing that is on Cobb's thing is that he had Kyler Murray coming off of IR, so he needed to move Kyler Murray to his bench. This whole short bench thing is a problem. And how many quarterbacks does he have? Yeah, so he had to get rid of a player somehow. He could have held on to. Yeah, I was thinking maybe he already had 4 quarterbacks in his lineup, and you can't have more than 4, but he would have had 4. So I don't know. He had to get rid of one guy. He had to maybe drop a player. Well, he's got Jahad Dotson and Christian Watson on his bench.
The 2-for-1 was freeing up a spot. So yeah, he would have had to give up Dotson or Watson or Michael Thomas. Or McLaughlin.
McLaughlin.
Why is he holding McLaughlin? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I quite buy the IR thing. What I will buy is, and what Cobb has been doing all year, is that he's been slinging quarterbacks. The guy has somehow had all the quarterbacks all year long. And it was because he kind of did the Dobbs and the Murray thing. He had both of them, and now they're both playing, and Dobbs got thrown to the Vikings, and then he had Bryce, he had Prescott at one point. He's had all the quarterbacks.
He's had Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's had them all somehow. He's trading around for them. So I think what I will give Cobb credit for here is he somehow has been a hoarder of the most valuable position in our league. Like, quarterback is obviously the most valuable position. You can make big trades for invaluable players if you have a lot of depth at quarterback.
Yeah, but he
can make big trades in this. So what I will say is, if I'm Cobb, he's got what he needs at quarterback. In theory, his quarterbacks aren't actually that good, but he has a lot of them.
Yeah.
So he wanted to get rid of one because he didn't need 4. And so, to him, it's a low value thing. Bryce Young doesn't bring that much valuable value to his team.
I completely get
Therefore,
that.
he might as well give him up for something that does bring value, which I think Amari Cooper does. But all of that said, like for Cobb's team, I don't think this was a bad trade, is what I'm saying. Like Cobb's team,
Why did he need to give DJ Moore?
he didn't have to, but like the argument that he's making is like Amari Cooper's on the up. Like Amari Cooper's been okay all year with like quarterback catastrophe. And now his quarterback is back, and he looked really good last week, even though that one touchdown catch he did get was a doink off the lineman's helmet.
I still think he could have traded.
He still had 140 yards receiving. So what I'm saying is his argument, I think, and I mean, he could just, I think he tried to explain it to himself this morning, which was like, DJ Moore's on the down. Bryce Young doesn't matter to his team. Therefore, he got a player who he thinks is on the up, and he feels good about that. So, like, he did.
You know who else is on the down? Michael Thomas. Throw him in as the kicker.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done that trade with Michael Thomas on it. If Gideon was like, no, I'm not doing Amari straight up for Bryce Young, he could have been like, here's Michael Thomas, and like Gideon probably would have taken that trade.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
It could have been anyone else on his team. It didn't have to be DJ Moore. And even if DJ Moore is on the down, it doesn't matter. He's still better than any. Like he didn't have to.
He's Chicago's top wide receiver. Like that's value no matter if they're struggling or not. Like
DJ Moore is objectively an awesome wide receiver.
Yeah, he's number 6.
On the Bears, unfortunately,
who are playing down. Like it's actually a good script for wide receivers playing on the Bears. They're losing every game. They just throw the ball.
They're not even really good enough to do that, honestly.
Well, but yeah, all I know is I guess I don't think Cobb is great at negotiating. Like, I don't know. Did he truly not want DJ Moore on his team? Does he think DJ Moore is bad? Like, he obviously thinks Amari Cooper is better than DJ Moore, which
I'm back. Cobb watches football. That's just the crazy part. It's like, I would understand if a person didn't watch football, but Cobb watches football. Like, we all watch, like, us three watch.
Did you see the touchdown doink off the lineman's helmet last week?
Yes. But also, like, I was more talking about DJ Moore. Like, DJ Moore's fucking good. So, like,
he's awesome.
He's awesome. And Amari Cooper doesn't have a very good, like, they're a run team. They're a run central. It's insane.
They're a defense team.
DJ Moore is better than Amari Cooper. Like, I don't think any of us can even debate that.
The Browns want their defense on the field more than they want their offense. They hope that their defense can just like burn the clock and prevent enough scoring so that their offense can like get a field goal and win. Like they don't want to pass to Amari Cooper. They're not trying to do that.
Well, also Deshaun's shoulder is not going to go anywhere. It's still bad. So we're talking about a bad shoulder quarterback, a guy who's mentally off, a team that's defensive first, run first. And then we're talking about a team that doesn't give a fuck with the Bears. Like, they should just be throwing the freaking ball to their best player, DJ Moore. So, like, there's no –
DJ Moore is the best player.
Yeah. And it happened early in the season. They weren't throwing DJ Moore the ball, and they were like, oh, this is crazy. And he was starting to get frustrated, and they were like, well, we can't have our number one guy who we just got – in the offseason and like upset his first year on the team. So then they were like, fuck it, we'll just start throwing him the ball. And then he had that night where he had like 2 touchdowns and like 200 yards.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah. He was on your team at that point too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for Gideon.
It's not on him. I mean, it's like if the Bears ever figure it out, I think it ultimately comes down to like the matchup for DJ Moore. If it's like a good matchup and the Bears can like figure it out, then like he has unlimited upside because he's that good, but he's not going to be consistent because the team is that bad.
Yeah. So anyway, Gideon got his quarterback.
I have one thing from today's, again, before we go into our next point on the agenda, from our trip today in Gatorland, which was kind of sick. You guys see those Gators? We were small.
Saw the Gators.
Dude, Kyle, that comment out of context or even in context was the funniest thing I've probably seen. I was showing friends it on the trip. How about that? Zoomed in. I was dead. I could not stop laughing.
The zoomed in tooth?
No, the other one where you're like also
The crotch?
Dude, that was so good.
Yeah. Was it? I thought it was pretty lowbrow. I honestly, I like almost didn't do it because I was like, well, he's with his coworkers. Like, if he opens his phone, it's just like a picture of his zoomed in crotch.
I thought it was hilarious.
You were showing that around. You're like, look what my buddy did.
Yeah. I said, look at my degenerate friend.
Did you show your CTO and say you should buy this guy's software?
No, but he'd probably find it funny. Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Anyways, Gator Trip was fun. It was funny. That's all I just wanted to say.
Gator Trip looked good. That guy, I feel like I hit a home run on that guy's life, but we don't have to get into that.
We don't get into that.
His crotch looked decent. I'll give him that. Schwer, this is your podcast.
Yeah, should I? So we talked about the trade. So inevitably, I texted Gideon saying, "So now that you pillaged Cobb, I assume our trade is off the table. That we were going to do live on air. That we had a pretty much man-to-man handshake on."
Hey, Gideon is a fucking like. Don't let it. He in the league right now. He's perceived as this like beautiful, like nice, laughy little boy. Dude, he does this to everyone. He gets you right up to the line. He gets you ready. He gets a bunch of people just like that because he's this nice, approachable sales guy. You know, like that's what he's good at. That's how he wins at work too. He's this nice, funny. Everybody likes him. He makes the Tony Spumoni thing. You want to hang out with him. He's a cool, funny guy. And then you get up to you trust him. He's your friend.
Yep.
And then as soon as push comes to shove, I have a text message. He said, sending the trade now. This is back when he was trading with you, Schwer. Sending the trade now. 2 hours goes by. No trade. And then before I know it, the trade's gone. And I tried to get, and then he took so much heat for the Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen trade. I was like, hey, we can salvage this. It's okay. Like the trade still makes sense for you and me.
You were trying to get Jalen Hurts.
Now it's Jalen Hurts instead of Josh Allen. And he was so taken back by all the heat that he took. You know, he felt bad. He was sad that the league was mad at him. Same thing happened today. He brings you up. He blue balls you. You're his friend. He's going to do this trade with you, and then he fucks you. That's what he does. Yeah. Watch out for him, folks.
Should I disclose what the trade was going to be?
It's up to you. I don't think you should, but
Kyle and I went through this.
No, actually, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, Kyle and I went through this. That's going to be my new policy. I will never do that again.
You shouldn't do it because the reason you shouldn't do that shit is because it basically exposes that player to like it allows other people in the league to draw conclusions about players like without having to do any work on their own.
Correct.
So, for example, Skyler in the text that I was sending with him, he said, I don't want these players XYZ, but also because they're on bye weeks, like they're all coming up on bye weeks. That's not something that everybody thinks about 2-3 weeks down the line. So now when someone's going to make a trade for Raheem Mostert, they're like, oh shit, I got to think about the bye weeks. It impacts it like impacts the trade that they would have otherwise made if they didn't have that additional information.
And I did text you after. I was like, oh no, I feel good about it. And then I was like, after you explained that part of it, I felt bad.
Yeah, but I'm not disclosing why Gideon didn't do the trade. Yep. Good talk. Bye.
All right. Yeah. Now this is a nightmare because he's left and Zencaster is going to say that his file is fraudulent and corrupted, and I'm going to have to like recover it, and then I'm going to have to like piece together the whole podcast. So I just want everyone to know how much work I put into this.
Yeah, you put in a lot of work. It's a thankless job, but I'm here to support you in any way you need.
You're not.
Well, Anyway, I won't disclose the trade, but it would have been really cool to accept it live on air. Would have had a lot of great discussion. There was a lot of marquee big names involved. It would have been pretty fun, but because Gideon slit my throat at the 18th hour.
Yeah, all right, but okay, so Gideon's a little bit slithery. He's from New York. He's a Giants fan. These guys are dirty guys. But in his position, would you not done the same thing? Like if you would,
Oh,
if
obviously.
if you get that trade, you obviously have to take it.
Yeah, like I don't blame him for that. I I know. I mean, that fell into his lap. Like
Yeah,
those text messages were disclosed. Like Cobb offered that to him, and what was his line? I think that's solid.
yeah.
Was
I've been in
his
those situations before where someone like proposes a trade idea, and I'm like, "Holy fuck, that is good for me." And
yeah
I try not to. You got to be like,
yeah.
"Oh,
You
try not
you
to
want
act."
to you want to be like you want to hide your cards a little bit, and that's
Yeah,
Gideon. That was Gideon's way. Oh yeah, I think
yeah, it's pretty good. I
I
mean,
can make that work with my
let me
lineup.
think about that.
Yeah, give me till the end of the day. Well, actually, send it now, but I'll think about it till the end. Then they send it, and he accepts immediately. Oh my god!
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean,
I
that's the
don't
thing.
blame Gideon. I don't blame Gideon at all for taking the
I
trip.
I know for a fact that whatever other trade he had from you in his inbox was not better than the trade he got from Cobb.
Yeah, but I just hope for Gideon's sake, just because we do have fantasy gods, and the gods are always just and swift, that I do hope that one of the players that maybe I was going after, you know, I do hope that I would hate to see his season just collapse. He's got a really tough road ahead. He's got some tough matchups. I would really hate to see that player not play very well and be really, really bad and have him look back and say, man, I should have taken that trade because the fantasy gods kind of look down on me now and they punished my players for that. I would hate to see that happen. I mean, some of his guys have some tough matchups coming up, but he's gonna go about it his way, and I wish him the best, but I won't be surprised if the player that I was trying to go after just has a really bad second half of the year, and he's stuck with him.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, don't wish anything on him, but would hate to see it. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
on record.
So what do we have? We
You want to give me shit? Yeah, I feel like you got something to talk trash about me on.
Yeah. I mean, you're not really much of a. I don't have much complaining to do to you exactly, but the only thing that does come to mind is I was listening to the podcast. What was it? That was the last podcast that we recorded. I wasn't there. You were 5-2 at the time, and you were
Yeah.
going on and on about how you know teams that are 5-2. There was three at the time. I think it was you, Dave, and Scotty, and or Matt, maybe. And you were
Yeah.
basically saying how
I well, I go ahead. Sorry.
I if I recall correctly, you were basically saying how it's really hard to lose 6 games. Because it was a halfway point, 7 weeks in. There's 7 weeks remaining, and you said it would be really hard to go 6-1 with the remaining half of the season. And I'm sitting there in my car listening to this, 1-6, saying to myself, it's not that hard. My team is pretty fucking good, and I'm 1-6, and I've gotten fucked every single Monday night, and I'm slamming the steering wheel. I'm driving off the fucking road listening to this podcast with you being like, it would be so hard for me to miss playoffs because if I lose the next 6, like my team is so good. I have depth players like you don't even understand. I have the type of players that I don't need them to go off. I can just have steady Freddy going in there, getting me 12 points a week, and I don't need the banger bust guys. My lineup is so secure that I just have this. I'm the boy genius, and I've crafted my lineup to be perfect where I don't rely on anyone. And then the next 2 weeks you've just been getting pounded. And now you've lost 2 in a row and you're kind of on a skid, and boy, wouldn't the irony be pretty justified if you went 1-6 in these last 7 weeks.
Yeah, so totally fair, but I will say that I was right. So what I was saying was that all of those teams at the time had 5 wins. So it was me, Dave, Prescott, and Matt.
Yeah.
I said it would be unlikely if at this point any of those teams missed playoffs. The only way it could really happen is if they lose the next 3 weeks and go 5-5, and then it starts to look murky. That was my point. Like, me and Skyler.
I didn't even realize you said that. If they lose the next 3 weeks.
That's like the whole point. You lose 3. We were all at the time. It was like Dave was 6-2, and the rest of us were 5-3. I believe is what it was. Maybe it was Dave was 6-1, and the rest of us were Dave was 5-1.
You all were 5-2. You all were 5-2.
Okay, so Dave was then. Oh, we were all 5-2, all 4 of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so all 4 of us were 5-2, and the only thing I said was, statistically speaking, it would make sense. Like, it is very unlikely that any of these teams miss playoffs. Therefore, like, I feel pretty good about my team. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, it would. And Skyler was like, well, you basically have to beat Scotty this week, which is a good team. And then you have a bye week Trevor, bye week Dolphins and Chiefs after that. So it's not unlikely that you end up 5-5. And he said, if you win this week again against Prescott, then you'll be whatever. If you lose the 2 bye weeks, you'll end up 6-4. And that's totally fine, right? Going into the last 4 games of the season. So if you look at all those teams right now, Matt's 7-2, Dave's 6-3, Prescott's 6-3. Now Gus is 6-3, and I'm 5-4. Now I'm on the brink of going 5-5. Exactly what I was saying. It would be statistically significant or like an outlier scenario where someone would go 5-5 in that particular scenario and then miss playoffs. But like, here we are. That's all I was saying.
I mean, you were alluding that your team was set up.
I was saying I like my team, which we all do. You just said you liked your team.
And I did like your team at the time. And then I think I don't know. I think you made some trades that were not in your benefit for timing wise
I lost to Scotty, but I scored 150 points. And Patrick Mahomes scored 5 that week. I still scored 150 points. And then last week, Trevor was on bye week. This week, Patrick's on bye week. Waddle's on bye week. Mozart's on bye week. Like
this could. That's what I'm saying. Like, you banked on. Did you bank on like winning one of these? Like, because now you're headed into this 3rd week where you desperately need a win, and you're like half your team is on bye.
Because I had 5 wins, I thought it's likely that I either beat Scotty or I split with Skyler or Schwer, and it's unlikely that it's going to be Skyler because I have way more bye weeks. So I lost to Scotty because of kind of a freak incident where Patrick Mahomes scores 5 fantasy points. That was the first time he hadn't thrown a touchdown in his career in a game, or like 29 games or something. Like, some crazy. Like, if he had just scored 20, I would have won. Like,
so what was the crazy stat for me for losing to me?
Well, I didn't.
What was the crazy stat there?
I thought that I had a chance because in week 5, I stomped on Caldwell with 1 quarterback because Justin Herbert was on a bye week.
Oh, so you're blaming the quarterback.
So I was basically saying, like, I'll either beat Skyler I'll either beat Scotty or I'll beat Schwer on luck. I probably won't beat Skyler, but who knows? So like now I'm going into the week with Skyler 0-2 on those 3 games. And like I'm probably going to lose to Skyler. So I'm going to end up 5-5. So now I'm saying it's okay. I'm 5-5. I believe in my team. I think I have a good team. Even with Patrick Mahomes scoring 5 points, I still scored 150 points. That says something about my team, right?
Well, you scored 87 against me, so.
Yeah, but I didn't have Trevor Lawrence, and my team was bad last week. Like my team, but my matchups, I knew I was going to struggle a little bit because the matchups, everyone was playing good teams.
Yep.
Like the only player that had any upside was Brees Hall, because he was playing the Chargers, which is typically like a lot of offense. They have bad defense. They rely on their offense to win games. And so I thought like maybe I'd get like a 30-point week at a Brees Hall, which would give me a chance. Didn't happen.
Yeah, so you got Skyler, then you have Gideon.
Yeah.
And then you have...
This is turning into all about me again, Schwer, which is what you were complaining about.
No, I wasn't. I just said what my complaint to you was, and that I thought it was kind of comical that you were basically, saying that it would be very difficult to have a 5-2 team not make playoffs.
It would.
And yeah, well,
It
that's what is funny. That is what is funny.
That
If
is
you literally
correct.
said that,
That is funny.
I will be pulling the clips for when you miss playoffs of those lines of you saying that on that podcast. I will.
Because that would be insane.
Yeah.
To start out 5-2 and miss playoffs it would be crazy. But to your point, you're saying you're 1-6. You yourself are saying I'm 1-6 and my team is good, and that's crazy. It's the same thing that I'm saying. My team is 5-2 and good. It would be crazy if I missed playoffs at this point. It's the same argument.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm in a better situation than you, even though I'm 3-6.
How so?
I feel like I have Josh Allen on my team, great quarterback, has a great matchup. Okay, you have Patrick Mahomes. I have Derek Carr and Will Levis now.
I have Trevor Lawrence, who's better than Derek Carr.
Well, is he? What quarterback rank is he?
Are we going to go down and compare player to player?
I mean, I'm curious. Like, I don't think
Let's
Trevor
do that.
Lawrence
That would be pretty good.
Okay, so Trevor Lawrence, guess his quarterback ranking right now, fantasy.
It's 15, I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's 18, and Derek Carr is 17.
Well, dude, he's coming off a bye week.
I'm just going by the numbers, man.
Has Derek Carr had his bye week?
Of course, he has not had that.
Okay, let's compare him on point averages. Go to what's the average?
Okay. Derek Carr 14.5 points.
Okay, what's Trevor Lawrence's? 16.3.
Okay.
Has Derek Carr had his bye week yet?
No, he has not.
Okay, so yeah, Trevor Lawrence is better than Derek Carr.
All right, well, Will Levis has 21.2 average points, so
he's played 2 games.
Yeah, he's also had but what we're saying is, I think our QBs are comparables. Josh Allen and a Derek Carr, Will Levis.
Yeah. So they're mine have the upper hand, but not crazy off. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yours are also through bye, mine are not. So, but I do have Alvin Kamara, who's like RB1 since coming back from suspension, who's having a great year so far. I have Aaron Jones is finally playing and finally getting touches, and he had a big week, so I'm feeling he's on the up. I have Nico Collins, who's...
Okay, wait, no, we're going player to player. So tell me Alvin Kamara's ranking.
Well, I thought we were doing average points because,
Yeah, he didn't play. But also, like, Brees Hall had a snap count the first 4 weeks, so maybe their averages will compare out.
Well, what's Brees Hall position ranked?
His position ranks 9, but Alvin Kamara is going to be lower than that. But I know for a fact that Alvin Kamara has been, like, number 1 through the last 3 weeks that he's played or something.
Yeah. He's literally been...
Okay, but same thing is, like, Brees Hall through 4 weeks was, like, running back 50 because they weren't playing him, and like now he's 9. His average points is 14.3. What's Alvin Kamara's?
17.2.
Okay. So you got me beat there. Bijan Robinson versus Aaron Jones. Who do you want to compare him to?
Probably Tony Pollard, but yeah.
Okay, Tony Pollard, because you haven't really been playing Aaron Jones because he's been hurt.
He's been
So
hurt.
yeah, Bijan Robinson was number 5 through like 5 weeks, and like now he's absolute garbage. So he's falling down. So his point position rank is 15, but his point average is 12.
Yeah, so Tony Pollard, who's been steadily average and not great, and I've been waiting for his breakout game all year. Drafted him with my first overall pick. He's averaging 12 points. So that's crazy. If you're telling me Bijan Robinson is averaging 12 points, that's wild to me.
Yeah, Bijan
Pollard's not been good for me, but
Bijan has been like, dude, he has 1 touchdown this year. Like, it's insane. I don't even think that's right. ESPN's wrong about that because he definitely scored a touchdown in week 1.
Yeah, he scored a receiving and a rushing touchdown. I know that.
Yeah, he scored a receiving touchdown that they're not accounting for on ESPN. I know for a fact. But so yeah, let's say he has 2 touchdowns all year. Like Bijan Robinson,
I mean,
arguably, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
So what's crazy is that Tony Pollard, guess how many touchdowns he has on this season?
2,
and it was week 1. So, like, that's why I'm feeling like he's underperforming and he can only go up.
Okay, so I would say our running backs are also comparable because it's Alvin Kamara and Breece Hall who are like either suspended or on snap counts, and they're like on the up. And then it's
I think you're wrong about that is Bijan
and Tony.
Okay, yeah.
Bijan and Tony, who are both like were touted to be, high crazy performers. They seemingly are stagnant, not being used well, should be better than they are. So I'd say if you look at it that way, they're like our running backs, similar to our quarterbacks, are also very comparable.
Yep. Okay. I'm with you. Wide receivers, who do you have?
I start
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, so I feel like our wide receivers are probably going to be comparable too. I have Chris Olave and Nico Collins.
All right, what's Nico Collins is better than Chris Olave, right? So let's compare him to my better one, which is Mike Evans. Mike Evans is position ranked 14 with 14 points average.
Yeah. Nico Collins, position ranked 13, 14.3 average points.
Okay. And what about Chris Olave?
Well, so I also have Brendan Ayuk. And Brendan Ayuk is outperforming Chris Olave right now through bye week as well. So really my wide receiver 2 is Brendan Ayuk, average position ranked 23, average 13.9 points.
Okay. You got me beat there. Jalen Waddle, 29, 11.7, but arguably on the up. Last 4 weeks of football, 51 yards receiving a touchdown, 63 yards receiving no touchdowns, 121 yards receiving a touchdown last week of 42 yards receiving. Maybe not on the up, but he's being Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I still think I like my wide receivers better.
All right. Well, I think you win the wide receivers. I think slightly in the same way that I win quarterbacks slightly.
Yeah, okay. So who's your tight end?
TJ Hawkinson.
Okay, you might have me beat, although I have 2 tight ends that are pretty good. What is Hawkinson? Is he like ranked 2 or 3?
He's 3 right now.
Yeah. So you have me beat there. I have Dallas Goedert, who's ranked 10, 8.2
and he's
points.
Hurt. Did he break his arm?
Luckily, I have Evan Ingram, who's ranked 11 and 8.4 points. So they're very comparable.
Yeah. I mean, tight end is like one of those positions where it's like you either have a top 3 guy or like everybody else is the same.
Yeah, you're getting 9 points a week if you're not. But then flex, I have Aaron Jones or Chris Olave or T. Higgins. Like I have good flex guys to put in. Drake London also like.
Who's your best? Who is your best?
Yeah, I mean it depends on matchups, but right now I'm thinking about starting Aaron Jones in my flex.
All right. My flex is Raheem Mostert, who's the number 2 running back at 18.8 points.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice flex, but he's also kind of inconsistent. You were talking about all your consistent guys. He's one of the most inconsistent.
Well, that's why he's a great flex. Tons of upside.
So I guess what I'm getting at, we've gone through this and we have very comparable players. I don't doubt your team. Your team is good. I think my team is good. I'm 3-6. I've won 3 fucking matchups.
Mm-hmm.
I've grinded for those. And I was looking at my lineup and yours. Well, you were saying you were 5-2 and I'm gonna win out and I'm whatever.
I never said I was going to win out. In fact, I said I was going to
all I
lose
know is that I was
5-5.
1-6 with what I thought was a comparable team to you, and here we are. I'm weaseling my way back. Won the last 2 weeks, and I feel like my team is finally. There was weeks where my guys didn't get a touchdown.
Yeah, sure. But the problem, so like at the end of the day, like your team might be good. The problem is that like you have to win games, right? So my whole thinking was I got lucky and you got unlucky. And I ended up with 5 wins hot out of the gate. And you ended up with 5 losses hot out of the gate.
6
Like
losses.
my chances of making playoffs are higher than yours.
I completely agree.
That's all I was saying. Like all I needed was 2 wins. You had
All I know is I was sitting in my car saying this guy thinks that he's untouchable to losing 6 straight, which I just fucking did with a good team. That's what I was saying. This guy thinks he's untouchable.
But in the same way that it would be crazy, or it is crazy that you lost 6 straight, it would be crazy if I lost 6 straight.
Yeah, well, I don't think you were thinking.
And my team is. I think we just got to the fact that my team's a little better than yours. You have a good team, but my team is a little better than yours. So there we are. I think my team's a little better. You lost 6 straight, whatever. You were 1-6. Now you're 3-6. You've won 2 straight. I was 5-2. I've lost
2 straight.
2 straight. I was 5-3. I've lost 2 straight.
I'm just saying, slippery slope.
It is.
Don't let it be 3. Don't let it be 3.
All right. Well, we can finish this podcast off with the Vision Quest.
Oh, is this what's gonna snap the losing streak?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I'm the only one that does it. I think I'm the only one that does Vision Quest. But basically,
you haven't done one this year?
No, and so I only pull out a Vision Quest when I really need it, right? Like the gods tell me I'm in a losing scenario. Last year, I started off like 0-4. I lost like 4 weeks straight. Somehow made playoffs after doing a Vision Quest.
So the Vision Quest is what's the success rate of the Vision Quest?
I know I can only remember doing 2 Vision Quests, and I'm pretty sure I did them both in the last 2 years. Maybe that's when the concept came up. So I've been doing Vision Quest every year, but it's only supposed to be used. It's only supposed to be used when you really need it and when the gods tell you to do it.
Well, and have they both been successful?
Well, I made semis 2 years ago, and I made the championship last year.
Okay, so 2 for 2. I would hate to see that streak snap.
My team was bad both years.
Yeah, see, what I don't think is quite resonating with you is that you think this year is different in that your team is better.
No,
good teams still lose. Good teams still lose.
I am fully aware. I'm going to be 5-5 this week.
You're saying you're going to lose?
I'm going to probably trade to guarantee the loss to try to build my team. Like I might do that.
Oh, so you're not doing the Vision Quest this week?
I'm doing a Vision Quest this week, but it's not to win.
What? You're doing a Vision Quest to lose?
The Vision Quest is to gain clarity on how to win a championship.
Oh, okay. So it wouldn't be to me. A Vision Quest is like I need to fucking snap this 2-game losing streak, or I'm going to be 5-5, and it's going to be dark.
No, I don't really see it that way. Like when I looked at my team this year, I was like, my team is good, and I made these trades, and I was like, I got to make these trades. It's going to end up like this. I'm going to have these bye weeks. That's going to be a tight pinch. It would be unlikely if I got to that scenario, but here we are. I'm in a position to go 5-5, and I made the decision that I was going to be okay with being 5-5 because I believe that my team is good.
That's crazy that you are telling people that you are considering like losing the matchup. That I think is where you're completely wrong, because by you doing trades to secure a loss, this is your words. You literally just said that I'm going to do some trades to secure a loss, is insane to me, because if you give up an easy, this is why I was so irate that I didn't start a kicker, is because there's luck involved in fantasy football. I felt like I've been on some of the bad luck side the first 7 weeks, being 1-6. Aaron Rodgers was on my team, gets hurt in the first 4 snaps. I lose. He gets me 0 points. I lose by 8 points week 1. Like that type of shit is what happened to me every single week for 7 straight weeks, 6 straight weeks. And for you to say, I'm going to just trade and like lose this week and give away a week. What happens when you do this trade and you trade for someone and you're like, here we go. I'm 5-5. Yeah, I didn't care about that week. Here I go. Patrick Mahomes goes down, season-ending injury. Now, all of a sudden, wow, maybe I should have taken that week seriously and tried to win that week, because now here I am.
I can still lose too.
Yeah, I just think that you can't take any week for granted, and you got to try to win every week.
I have the points for to lose too. Like it's
here
crazy.
you go. Here you go. You see?
It's crazy. But what
I have the points for to lose too.
What I'm betting on is, I feel like every year I've played to win the week, and I haven't won a championship in almost 10 years. So now I'm trying to build a team that wins championship.
All right. Well, I just don't think you realize how your team can go from looking good to being terrible with one injury.
I fully understand.
So if you want to build up your team for success and throw away a week, I hope nothing happens. Because
what do you think the alternative is? Like, what do you think the alternative is? I'd have to trade Patrick Mahomes to win this week.
Okay, I think that's fine. Trade Patrick Mahomes.
What kind of deal could I get for that?
I mean, I'm kind of down on Mahomes, or else I would say I might be a good candidate to trade with you.
It's just silly to be down on Mahomes. You can't.
Well, I don't know.
He's had a couple bad weeks. I get that.
He's definitely, he's not the fantasy stud that he once was. I mean, he's a good quarterback in the NFL.
He's throwing dimes. He's throwing fucking dimes. People just aren't catching the ball. And their defense is really good. So it definitely is a different team.
All right. So I'll give you Derek Carr, and I'll give you
You got to give me someone nice. For Patrick Mahomes, it's got to be Derek Carr. I'm taking a huge hit at quarterback. It's got to be someone nice.
Yeah, I'll give you someone nice. Name your guy. Derek Carr plus one other for Patrick Mahomes. That's what it would take.
Well, I think, it's Alvin Kamara. But I also don't want 2 Saints guys.
Well,
because
then you don't take Alvin Kamara.
You're taking one of the best players at the most protected positions. I'm downgrading to a mid-tier quarterback.
That's Chris Olave got arrested. This has nothing.
Why was Alvin Kamara suspended? Wasn't it domestic? He got in a fight at a bar.
Yeah, he got in a fight in Vegas. It's Vegas, man. You didn't get in a fight in Vegas? Everyone does.
I wanted to get in a fight in Vegas. I understand why.
That's over. But
I'm also not Alvin Kamara. So anyway,
I mean, I'm just saying, if you wanted to win this week, those guys would help you in a situation where Patrick Mahomes on bye. You can't tell me that it wouldn't.
So you're saying you would trade for Patrick Mahomes on bye? You would trade Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara?
Yeah.
Should we just do this trade right now?
We could.
You're like a nothing to lose kind of guy right now, though.
Yeah, I mean, I will do that trade right now.
So then you have Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen on your team, which is literally the blueprint of Caldwell winning the championship last year.
I mean,
It's actually
I'm fine. I'm fine doing that trade because I have.
If you had that kind of comeback story, I'd be here for it. If you went from 1-6 to the championship, there would be no bigger cheerleader.
Well,
unless I was playing against you.
I'm playing Gus this week, so trying to make my lineup as good as I can for him. And I don't think that, I do think that losing Kamara would hurt me, but Carr, I'd sub in Will Levis and see if he could do a miracle like he did, and then I'd put Brendan Ayuk and Olave and Nico Collins as my 3 guys, and Tony Pollard and Aaron Jones. Like, I don't think me losing Kamara would hurt and would help.
All right, send the trade live on air.
Live on air. We're gonna do this trade.
I don't know if I'm gonna accept it on air. I would never do such a thing.
Well,
but you can send it.
That's crazy. I'm not leaving it out there. You'd have to make a decision before this podcast went live, or else everyone will be weighing in.
All right, while you're sending it, I'm gonna take a piss.
Oh, he's going to go plug in the numbers in his super computer calculator. All right, this is gonna happen. Crazy trades. Where is he? Patrick Mahomes.
All right, did you send it?
No, my app crashed on me. I'm doing it right now. Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara. Let's see what Watson has to say about this, huh? Watson says, kind of exactly what we've discussed. I would lose 2.4 points, which is kind of a wash this week. But overall, I'd be up 35. So... But why is Eric Moody worried about Patrick Mahomes and the Chief offense? This is the type of shit.
Also, who is Eric Moody? That's always my question. It's just like, and you click on it, it's like some fucking 50-year-old dude sitting in a room like one of ours. Just like, what are your credentials and what the fuck do you know about football?
Yeah, all right. I'm not even going to listen to it. I'm just going with just the fact that I just talked up.
You're gaslighting me right now.
What do you mean?
You're trading me 2 players that you don't like for Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. I don't like Alvin Kamara. I just said he's RB1 since he's been back. The guy has more receptions than probably Amari Cooper. I bet you the guy has more receptions than Amari Cooper. And I just sent the trade. This would be cool if we did a trade live on air and you accepted. I think it's solid. I'll be honest. I think it's solid.
Derek Carr is trash. And I'll remind you that I don't have anyone else.
Derek Carr, look at his passing yards. He's not trash. He throws, you know what you get? You get a bonus for throwing over 300 yards. The guy's done that 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Patrick Mahomes, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is having a good year. This could backfire for me.
The problem is both these guys going by next week.
Patrick Mahomes.
The problem is both these
Patrick Mahomes have only thrown.
Oh, schwer. The problem is that I'm right back in this scenario next week. I can't do this trade. Doesn't make sense.
Well, then you trade Alvin Kamara.
Then I got to make another trade next week.
Just saying, I thought you wanted to win this week. I thought you needed to snap a losing streak.
Well, I'd have to trade for a quarterback again next week. And that's really hard to do, as you know, in our league. So I'd have to trade Trevor Derek next week.
I didn't say it was going to be easy. Winning championships is hard,
That's what I'm saying is my team is... I just got to take the L this week. Then I'm pretty much I'm in the clear.
Okay, I'll clip this audio. I just have to take this L this week, and then I'm in the clear, and then someone.
Why'd
gets
you
hurt.
fucking? Oh, you didn't. No. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm gonna make the playoffs. I'm just saying, like, everybody takes hits on bye weeks. Like, you're kind of tossing it up if you're gonna win or lose.
But I'm just saying,
I've kind of written my own narrative here. I'm taking the loss based on like my teams and their bye weeks. And once I come out of this coming week, everybody on my team's pretty much through their bye week except for TJ Hawkinson. And I'm like,
if you win this week, that's what I don't think you realize is like you need to snap this losing streak because you just said all you need is 2 more wins or something. If you win this week, who cares when now your record is what? If you win this week, you'll go 6-4. Now there's only how many games left? What week are we? And then you just then you can be in a situation where you can say, "Oh, I can lose with guys on bye, and I don't need to be desperate because I got this win, this 6-4. I got there, and now I have more confidence." Like that's where I think you're going to lose this week, and now you're going to have less confidence, and now there's more risk with the remainder of the season. And if a guy does get hurt, that's healthy now. Like that's where I think if you're able to win this week, you'll have luxuries of having another win this week. Like
yeah, but sure. Okay. So this trade gives me about 22 additional points this week, which would put my projection at 124. My matchup has 123. So ESPN basically thinks that if I do this trade, it's a 50-50 chance that I win. Now, if I end up losing on the bad side of that 50-50 chance, let's say I flip the coin wrong and I end up 5-5 anyway, then I go into next week with one of my quarterbacks on bye again. And Alvin Kamara.
So no different than you are this week. But you have a 50-50 chance this week, and you're better in your odds with healthy guys and a good team.
But I don't have Patrick Mahomes.
But you have Alvin Kamara.
Now I don't have Patrick Mahomes.
You don't have Patrick Mahomes, who's quarterback 4 or 5, but you have the running back 1 for the past since he's been back from suspension. So like you saying you don't have Patrick Mahomes, like I'm not giving you nothing.
True.
So like you're getting a better positional ranked player with Patrick Mahomes ranked 4. And honestly, he's only thrown 3 games over 300 yards, which you get a bonus for throwing over 300. Derek Carr, like him or not.
Why was Alvin Kamara so bad against Chicago last week?
I don't know. I didn't watch the game.
They've also got Minnesota this week, who has a good defense.
I mean, you can talk your way out of anything, but
I mean, you're not wrong. Like this trade basically puts me in a position to win next week.
Yeah, and if you win, and I just think like if you lose this week with that trade, you're in the same position that you are right now, and you have Alvin Kamara, who is equivalent to Patrick Mahomes, and you could do the same thing again with Alvin Kamara.
Patrick Mahomes.
Well, positionally, he's actually better than he's ranked.
Yeah, but you can't compare because quarterbacks are more valuable in our league than running backs.
Okay, well, I do think you're also undervaluing Derek Carr because the guy, if you look at his numbers over the past 4 weeks.
He's been nice.
So.
But your team, okay, so your team, you're gonna slot Aaron Jones into your RB2.
Yep, and I'm taking a risk there.
You're in a nice position to trade.
I mean, I'm relying on Aaron Jones being.
And then your projection week in, week out, it's literally going to be 50 or 60 points from Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Yeah, but Josh Allen has, I mean, sure. but so is
These
yours.
guys,
Your projections are not going down. Like that's what I'm trying to say for you. You're like Alvin Kamara is projected 15 points a week on average. Like Derek Carr, 15 points a week on average. I mean, I just have too much. I just have too much in the Saints right now.
All right. Put T. Higgins on there so I can take Gabe Davis out of my lineup. And then you got yourself a deal.
I'm giving you T. Higgins. You're giving me Gabe Davis.
No, I just don't want T. Higgins. No, I'm not giving you Gabe Davis. I'm giving you Patrick Mahomes for Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Higgins.
Then
you don't like T. Higgins, I know that.
Well, I didn't like him, but he did just have a great game.
Oh no!
I mean, I feel like you're getting greedy here. Like this trade originally.
I think it's a good trade, but if you're going to use the argument that I have to win this week, then you gotta help me win this week, and that's by getting Gabe Davis, who just goose egged last week. I can't have a goose egg if I'm going to win.
That is bad. Wow, he goose egged you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even want him. He's crazy. You can't really play him. You see his stat line. It's like 13 points, 21 points, 1 point, 1 point, 19 points, 0 points. It's like you can't play him.
I'm already giving you two guys, and now you want a third
guy that you said you don't like. You just earlier on this podcast were saying he was trash.
He was trash in week 4 when I got him.
You were just making the argument. Well, actually, it wasn't on this podcast because it got deleted. But the argument you were making before we actually got to this podcast was that he's still bad. I'll give you Miles Sanders.
No, I have no reason to give you more players.
Why? I have a lot of risk in this trade. First of all, it's 2 New Orleans players, which I don't like doing because if that team just has a bad week, those 2 players are busts for me. They're playing Minnesota this week, which is a good defense. So, like Minnesota, say what you want about them, they're fucking winning games right now. They've beaten good teams. And it's because of their defense. The defense is nice. The only reason that Alvin Kamara and the Saints have done anything is because they play shitty fucking teams. So when they go up against a good team, they're trash. Like, look at the stats. So all I'm saying is if you want to do this trade, if you want to get Patrick Mahomes, the best player that our generation has seen since Tom Brady, and he's better than Tom Brady supposedly, if you want him on your team, you got to pay for it.
Eric Moody is down on Patrick Mahomes. So I haven't even listened to that. If I leave this trade up any longer and I go listen to that, I might be canceling because Eric Moody is down on Patrick Mahomes.
Well, as you said, we're only doing the trade if we do it live.
I did say that, and I sent the trade to
and
you.
You know how much of a bust it would be for this podcast and all our listeners right now if we just didn't get a deal done?
Yeah, the ball is in your court. I sent the trade.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's not.
You countered, and I said Higgins is too much.
Your whole point of doing this trade for me right now is so that I can win this week. I don't think that this helps me win this week. I think it gives me a chance, but I think it's still a coin toss. Or I know it's a coin toss according to the projections.
I just think you're undervaluing how important a good running back is.
That's not true at all, dude. I have Raheem Mostert, number 2, Breece Hall, number 9, Bijan Robinson should be number 4, but is number 15 because his team is stupid. And I basically am locked into keeping Bijan because he's a keeper that I invested a fuck ton in.
You're bending me over right now on this podcast. You won't just
Well, I'm
accept.
not.
You won't accept a fair trade.
Dude, you're crazy. You're going to have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes as your quarterbacks.
I'm 3-6.
Yeah, and if you want to win, you have those two guys on your team. Like, I'm giving you wins right now. I'm giving you a chance.
So if I get rid of Kamara, Derek Carr, and T. Higgins, who am I gonna play?
Dude, your team, like, that's the thing about your team is you're talking about how great you actually do have a thick bench. You've got Olave, who is like just waste on your bench. You're already probably fucking you're probably already banging your head against the wall about who you're going to start. Right? So you might as well get rid of
What's the deal with Antonio Gibson?
I just think he had a good week last week. He basically like split carries with Brian Robinson and he like played well.
All right, give me him and I'll do it.
So if Brian Robinson gets hurt, then Antonio Gibson's a good running back. That's essentially why I'm on my team.
All right, I just sent it, and I'm just giving away T. Higgins, but whatever.
You can't.
It's sent.
You can't be mad about the T. Higgins thing. You've been preaching about.
I know. I just
how bad he is, dude. He's terrible.
Okay, I sent the trade. He's going to be a terrible player on your team now. I wish him well, because you are the only thing that is in T. Higgins' court is that now Jamar Chase is like hurt. So you're welcome, and their Cincinnati is through bye. So that was the other nice thing about that is that he had his bye week in week 7. So that's my concern is I have wide receivers that hit Brendan Ayuk. He just got through bye. So, okay. I mean, I'm okay. Chris Olave is coming up by. I sent the trade. More than fair.
All right. I accept it.
We just did a trade live on air. That was basically the trade I was going to do with Gideon.
All right. So so now that it's over, how do you actually feel about this trade? You feel like you feel good about this trade?
I mean, I don't know. I feel this is pretty funny that we're just having I think you squeeze my balls a little bit to get T. Higgins, and I don't really care because ultimately the guy's like hurt again. He's
you're playing hardball with T. Higgins.
Yeah, but I didn't want to lose him. I think he's a good asset that you played hardball and you got, so good for you. But ultimately, I think it was an okay trade for me because I have the same concern you do, but I have 3 Saints players. I had Olave, Kamara, and Derek Carr. So that's part of the reason that it was
the
fucking
whole team is bet on them fucking winning games, which the thing that I like about New Orleans is that they're the best team in that division. So, like, they got to play Minnesota this week, which sucks. But their schedule for the rest of the year is pretty soft. Whereas, like, dude, AFC is tough. That's what I've like learned about all my players that are in the AFC is like it's just they're either playing up against the best offense or the best fucking defense. Like the Jets are so frustrating with like Breece Hall. It's like they're the best defense. Their defense and they're the worst offense. Their fucking defense is always on the field, keeping them in games, and then their offense just shits the bed and punts it 20 times a game.
So the other reason why I wanted to get rid of Derek Carr is because I don't know if you've watched any of the New Orleans games, but it is so frustrating when they get in the red zone and Carr goes and stands on the sideline and Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. Yeah.
So
Yeah. But it's undeniable that he slings it, and he's been slinging it the last 5 games. Like, he was
he is
that.
a good fantasy quarterback. That's where it's like, sure, Patrick Mahomes is great, but like weirdly enough, Derek Carr gets a lot of points because he fucking launches the ball,
Doesn't
and
get a lot of points.
his
He
touchdowns
doesn't get a
though
lot of
give him
points.
bonuses because they're like 50-yard touchdowns.
Yeah, but like he's scoring 18, 19, 20, like 25 his best week. It's not like he's scoring a lot of points. He's like a very mid-tier quarterback. So I started this year with like Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins, who before Kirk Cousins gets hurt, they're both like top 5 quarterbacks, and like now I've like downgraded all the way down. But at the same time, the assets I have in my team in the running back position specifically is pretty crazy. Like I have Brees Hall, Bijan, Raheem Mostert, and Alvin Kamara.
Which don't you feel like I wasn't gonna bring it up, but don't you feel like you actually now are in a situation where when those guys are all through bye, you have too many running backs?
Yeah, but the thing is that once I get through this week, I
You're
have
just
to
gonna,
trade.
yeah, you're gonna have to trade.
I have to trade again next week. So now
Which
I have a trade asset. Like I could go and take like whichever one of these running backs to literally anyone. The thing is, like Bijan is just so valuable because he's a keeper.
yeah.
Like so, if like push comes to shove, like I can trade Bijan now and still have Alvin Kamara to slot in. So you heard it
Wow.
here first.
I can't believe we did that trade. So what do you think Eric Mooney has to say about Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, play it live on the podcast. Hold it up to your mic.
All right. Why Eric Moody is worried about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. This is going to hurt listening to.
Visit fireballfantasy.com for your chance to win.
All right.
Fireball Whiskey is an official sponsor of ESPN Fantasy Football.
Here's Eric Moody.
I thought Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense would be eager to bounce back after losing to the Broncos in week 8. Kansas City still looks out of sync and barely defeated the Dolphins on Sunday. Mahomes finished with only 15.8 fantasy points. He only has 3 games this season with 20 or more fantasy points. On Sunday against the Dolphins, Mahomes completed only 4 passes of more than 5 air yards, tied for the second fewest in his career. Now, he averaged 3.3 air yards on his completion Sunday, with both of his touchdowns being caught at or behind the line of scrimmage. Nobody wants to admit it, but the Chiefs desperately missed Tyreek Hill. Over the last 2 seasons without Hill, Mahomes has thrown a league-high 18 touchdowns that were caught at or behind the line of scrimmage. Mahomes has averaged 4.4 air yards on his 58 passing touchdowns, the fewest by any quarterback with 10 or more touchdowns in that time frame.
That's actually pretty good stats. I was surprised by that guy's analysis. That's actually quite good. But you know what? I don't think it ultimately doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter for me. It doesn't matter for me because Patrick Mahomes at his worst is like 12 to 15 points, and that's what Derek Carr is. Yeah. The only thing I'm relying on is Aaron Jones to not be what he was in the beginning half of the season, to be back. But that's a huge risk for me because if Aaron Jones is good and Tony Pollard shows up, those guys can handle it. And then I have 3 good wide receivers. So I'm relying a lot on Aaron Jones now that I got rid of Kamara.
Yeah. Well, if one of those guys goes down, I'll trade you a nice running back for Patrick Mahomes.
Honestly, that's yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. We just did a trade on the podcast. So let's hang this thing up because it's an hour and 28 minutes long. It's also the longest podcast of all time.
Yep. People are not going to want to listen to this whole one. But yeah, that was basically the trade I was going to do to Gideon. So
he said when you were like, who do you want on my team? I was like, Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara. You were trying to trade Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
So as soon as I said
I wasn't trying to trade it, but I was trying to trade Derek Carr because again, I have all these Saints players, so I'm trying to trade Derek Carr. And then realistically, it's if I want to get some of these bigger, better quarterbacks, like I understand the need to give up a bigger, better player. So that's who Gideon wanted. I assumed when you said you wanted, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. He's a very good running back. You're going to want a very good asset for if you're giving up one. So, and I had thought it through with Gideon, and yeah, he was also concerned about the bye weeks. Like that's the other thing that I do have the luxury of. I have guys I can put in my lineup this week and not get hurt too bad, and then those guys are going to be on bye week next week anyway. So, and I'll have
Yeah, I
Patrick
mean,
Mahomes.
Patrick being through, yeah, I guess you're risking. Who are you going to start this week instead?
Will Levis, who's actually projected for more points than Derek Carr. So,
dude, it's crazy that you got him on your team. Like, I held him for the first 5 weeks of the season.
That's crazy.
And I finally dropped him because I was like, I know they're gonna start him eventually. Like, it's gonna be a thing they're gonna get to eventually, whether Ryan Tannehill sucks or gets hurt, and Malik Willis is trash. We've already know that. So I was like, they're gonna start him eventually. He's gonna be a sweet keeper, and then of course, not only the week he plays, he fucking torches me. He threw the week I lost to Scotty. He threw 4 touchdowns or whatever, 3
Oh,
touchdowns.
because he had Hopkins.
Andre Hopkins.
Yeah. That's
Andre
hilarious.
Hopkins scored 40 points that week. He's never scored like more than 10 all season. That was like the most painful thing about that whole thing. Is like, one, Patrick Mahomes shits the bed, which he's never done ever. 2, I dropped Levis, who I'd held on to for 5 weeks. And 3, he's throwing touchdowns to the guy I'm playing against, who's also good but been quiet all year. It's just insane.
That's fantasy. That's why
Fantasy.
you can't bank on any wins. Shit
It's
like
true.
that happens. So,
All right. I'm clicking stop.
okay.
Goodbye.
Good deal. Goodbye.